In this lesson, I'm going to show you how to work with effects using the USCutter edition of VinylMaster CUT. If you'd like to know where to get more effects to create truly stunning artwork, please go to the end of this lesson for more details. So to begin with, open up VinylMaster CUT, create a new page like this one here, and I'm going to turn the page off here, turn it back on just so you can see where I've done that, turn it back off. So VinylMaster CUT comes with 3 distortion effects and an outline module, which I'll show you how to use. So to begin with, we need to bring in some artwork. So I'll just go over here and I'm going to just drag and drop this flag in. I'll just center that to the page. Okay, so we have this image here, and that's actually a bitmap, as you can see here, by going into wireframe mode. And I'm going to apply an effect to this. In this case, we're going to apply a flag effect. And when I do that, you'll see these nodes pop up, and each is numbered, like so. So if I left click on one of these nodes and drag it down or push it up, you'll see what happens. It creates this distortion, like so, and I can do the rest of these. And in a fairly short period of time, I've created this effect here with this flag, as you can see. So that's how we actually apply the effect to an object like so. Good thing about effects is they apply equally to bitmaps as they do to vector objects. So if I just make that a little bit smaller and move it out the way, I'll bring in an SVG file like so, which is a rather similar piece of artwork. However, this is a vector. So if I click on wireframe, you can see this is made up of curves. And if I click on distortions flag, once again, I can apply a similar style or set of changes using the effect, and I've done so equally to an image as I have done to a vector, and we can see that in wireframe like so. So that's how we apply a flag distortion. I'll just delete those two out. Now another example would be perspective. So I'll bring in some artwork like so. Now you may find, if you're using the software to create signage for people, you'll get a job like this where you have to apply signs to a roof like this. So if we say type in gas station, sorry I haven't come up with anything too exclusive here. We put that there like that. We might want to make that wide, of course. We probably want to make that a bit smaller. I mean, for example, if you sent that to the client as an example of the artwork, as a proof, they wouldn't really be too impressed. So what you can do is use the perspective tool, but they may not be too impressed with that font either. So let's just try something a little bit better. Looks better to me. Now I'm going to zoom in on this area, and I'll show you how to use the perspective effect or distortion. Click on it there. And this is the 2D version. I'll get to more advanced distortions later. But as you can see there, quite quickly, now obviously that's going to be too big. If I hold down the shift key and the left resizing handle like so, I can make it proportionally smaller like that. But you can see that immediately that looks far more realistic than what we had before. And by simply just making that, for example, black, pressing the plus key on the keyboard, just moving it off a little bit, and maybe making it white again, you can see it gives it a little bit of depth now. And I'll just show you again how I did that on this side here. We'll zoom back in, and on this side we may say something like open. I'll make that a little bit smaller, and in fact I'll make it the right font. What we're using this one here, and I'll make that white. An example would be open 24 hours, which is a fairly typical thing for a gas station on the side of the freeway there. So if I put that there like that, I will go down to distortions and 2D, and again I can left click on these nodes, move them into position, kind of resize it a little bit, just make it sure it looks quite realistic. I might just zoom out just to make sure. Yeah, I think it just needs a little bit more modification down here. And as you can see, in a fairly short period of time, we might do the same here where we make that black, press plus on the keyboard, bring it out ever so slightly, make that white, just give it that bit of depth. And as you can see, if you sent that to your customer or your client, that would look quite good. So that's how we create those distortion effects. That they can be for proofing, they can be for actual real life work where you're actually creating that effect on a piece of artwork. So whether or not it's just to create this this illusion of it being in perspective, or actually creating perspective artwork, you can do that quite easily using these tools. Now the other one you can try, if I select something here, is this cylinder tool. So what I'll do is I'll zoom out, I'll delete that, so I might make something, I'll do it in uppercase, the big sail with an exclamation mark. Again, I might choose a slightly heavier font, Arial Black's a good one. I might make this red and a little bit bigger. So we want to give this a little bit of oomph, a little bit of an effect. So what can we do? Well, in VinylMaster CUT we can come over to this distortion and click on cylinder. Now that looks a bit silly, so we might zoom out. But if we do this, and bring that back a little bit, again, just left clicking and holding those nodes down, and just adjusting it there like that, and maybe making it a little bit wider, and you can actually drag it wider like that. And again, if I make that black and press plus on the keyboard and make that red and then just drag that up ever so slightly, you can see that you can make something look that's rather boring look rather quite interesting by simply just doing that that cylinder effect. Good thing about effects, let's get rid of the black piece. The good thing about effects is that you can come back, you can save the project and come back and keep distorting them or keep editing the effects. So you can put effects on top of effects if you want to. It's quite possible. The other effect that you've got here in the program is this outline tools. So I click on that, it pops out the design center here, and I can actually do an outline live in this side, so I can go like so, and you can see it creates a preview on the screen for you. I have to zoom out a little bit and go back and just click on preview again, and it shows you what I'm going to do. What this is actually doing is it's making a solid black outline around this text, and that will actually go below the text once I create it. Now keep holes you'll see in this little A here. If I turn that off, you can see how that vanishes, and inside the B there, etc. So you can either keep the holes or you can remove them, so it's just a solid piece underneath. You can change the outline so that the way it goes around the letters changes. That'll apply when I actually do it, when I actually click apply down here. So if I click apply, you can see what it's done here. If I zoom in, and in fact if I left click on the red and just drag it out like so, you can see what it's done. It's created an outline of this particular effect that we've created, and it would do this on text or any other object. I can click undo to bring it back, and you can see what it's done there. Now I might want a bigger outline than that, so I'll just delete that one, for example. I'll just zoom that up or slide it up like so, and I can click on this thing called the outline module. So I'll click on that, and you'll see a dedicated module pops up. And it's a very similar thing. I mean, I can adjust the size there. It's just a little bit better because you can see it more clearly with a live type preview. And of course you can go, you know, as thick or as bigger offset that you like. You can do it in a particular size. You can do say 1/4 of an inch, and you get that effect. Again, you've got the keep holes thing there. As you can see, as I click on that, they pop in and out. I can change the color of the outline, so I could make it say yellow, for example. And if I had images and other effects, I can also check these boxes to keep them on. And I can also use this as a actual contour cut line. So that's another option I've got here. So if I check that on and click accept here, when this goes, and I'll do it, when it goes back into the program, this is now a contour cut line. So if I selected all of this and went down, click on create cut contour, you can see it loads in that module with a contour cut line. And of course I could then load that into the create contour cut wizard, but there's an entire lesson on that. I'm not going to go into that now. But let's just go back to the outline module, and again you can set your offset. I might make the offset say, I don't know, 1/2 inch in this case, and I'll make that yellow. Click apply and accept. And again, much the same as before, you have the outline here, and if I go into wireframe you can see what's going to happen. It's going to cut this as a separate piece with this as a separate piece, and when you put them together they will end up looking like this with your artwork. Now just close the design center. So as mentioned, there are a few distortions here, these three here in the outline tools in VinylMaster CUT. But if you want some really advanced tools and features, I'll just show you some of the sorts of things you can do in the higher levels. Here's just some of the distortions we've got in VinylMaster Letter and Pro and Designer. Obviously I'll show you each level, but again, as you can see, this job was saved a long time ago, and when I come back into it I can immediately start editing, you know, these effects or these distortions here. And look, you can do some very advanced distortions by, you know, combining different effects together. So we've got like outline with an offset and an inset. Again, you can see how it remains editable, like so, and I can, you know, move that around and do what I want to do. And all these effects, these distortion effects, remain editable. So what I'll quickly do is I'll show you some of the more advanced effects tools and features in VinylMaster Letter. I'll load that up now. So here we are in VinylMaster Letter. Now I'm running the demo just so that you know that you can download the demo and install it and run it like I am here and have access to exactly the same tools and features. So in VinylMaster Letter you can see I've got this effects here, this word, and if I click on the distortions you can now see we've got more distortions. An example of that would be arc text. I can move that like so and make that wider, narrower, you know, whatever I want to do, spin it around, etc. So I can do things like that. One thing that is asked for a lot in VinylMaster CUT, which is available in Letter and above, is arc text. This is a different version of what I just showed you. That is that I can say, type in the quick, press enter on the keyboard, you can see it carriage returns, brown fox, and what I can do now is, if I go to the second row of tools, you can see I get all these additional options up here. So I can put it above and below, and because I've got a carriage return between these two, where I've pressed enter it goes below, or I can put it all below. So, you know, I have these options, and I can, you know, edit the text while it's there. I can change the font, the colour, you know, the size of it. I can make it larger if I like, move it around, etc. So these are the sorts of things you can do in VinylMaster Letter. And I'll just go and show you some of these other documents. So for example here we've got this multi-outline tool. So I was showing you the basic outline tool in VinylMaster CUT, but in Letter we've got this multiple outline thing, which is from these tools here. As you can see, this is the multiple outline. When I've created a multiple outline, I can edit it by clicking it down here, and now I get the edit tools in the second row of tools, and I can adjust, you know, the number of outlines, whether it's combined or it's a gradient, or whether it's lines, you know, and these are different variations on that theme. So for example, if I click on this one, I might change the colours from, say, I don't know, a light red. What did we have there? So we've got yellow at the moment, so we'll go from light red, and this time we'll go to yellow. So we'll go opposite of what it was. And then in this case we might actually change the inside of the text to, you know, a totally different colour. You know, I mean, it's your imagination will create anything you like with these tools and features. If I go through the pages, you've got the inline effects, and again, this is all these different options you get from the second row of tools again. We have the different outline styles, which I was showing you earlier. These are the way the program treats the edges of pen styles and line styles, or what's known as the outline styles, like that. And that also applies to the inline, same sort of thing, where we have, you know, smooth, round, sharp, mitered, etc. So those are the sort of things you get in the higher levels of the software. You also get things like drop shadows. Again, from this flyout here, you can see we've got drop shadow, block shadow, the outline effect, the inline effect, multi-outline, multi-inline, and also stripes. I'm not going to go through and show you all of these. I'm just giving you some ideas of the sorts of things you can do. Clearly there are a great deal many more tools and features in the higher levels. If I go to page 2 here, you can see these different effects. Things like block shadows. So if I go to the node edit tool and select on it, you can see I can affect this here like that, make it wider, and you can see how easy it is to use these tools. If I go to wireframe, you can see it's automatically welding everything out for me. And the great thing about these effects, as I said earlier, is that I can come in and edit them live, and they automatically update like so, which is really good. I mean, that's a very advanced set of tools and features, allowing you to save off your artwork, come back to it any time later, and then, you know, modify it and have it ready for another job. So there's sorts of things you can do in VinylMaster Letter. I'll show you some more advanced effects in VinylMaster Pro now. So here we are in VinylMaster Pro and the demo version again, just so you can download and try it for yourself. Now if I go down and click on the distortions, you can see we got a lot more distortions here. Envelope is another one of these, which is a very interesting effect. You can do some quite good effects with this tool. The other thing you will also see is if I just type in 3D, VinylMaster Pro lets you do 3D modeling. So if I just make this slightly bigger font, that's not a bad one, make it a bit bigger. Actually I'll turn the page off so it's on and off like so, make that a little bit bigger. Now if I go to this tool here and click on 3D modeling, you can see that it puts the text into a 3D type effect, which you can edit directly on the screen. So this is great for 3D modeling, and as always in the second row of tools are all our tools here, so we can change that black to say I don't know, a gold colour, and we can change the extrusion to say a red colour, even larger. And if we go into node edit mode, you can see that we can increase the extrusion, make it wrap around if we want to, and you know, change the lighting effects, you know, and do all sorts of things. So this is a terrific tool for 3D modeling. There'll be a lesson directly on this that you can watch if you're interested in learning how to use that tool. Other effects are things like stripes, and if I go into wireframe mode, you can see this is all cuttable. So that's another interesting tool. You can create tool paths for engraving. So if you wanted to engrave this out of a, you know, that double coloured plastic, you could do that, and all manner of different types of projects, and you can work in wood and plastic, whatever you need to. So these are the sorts of things you can do in VinylMaster Pro. Now there's some very advanced special effects in VinylMaster Designer, which I'll show you now. So here we are in VinylMaster Designer, once again the demo, so you can download it and try it for yourself. If I click on this text here and go on this tool here, you see the special effects tool. I can go and apply all these different special effects, prismatics and reflectives and shadows and fire and all sorts of stuff. But there are these presets here. Now as you can see, there's a lot of them. There's glows and everything you see on the right hand side here you can apply to the text I've got selected. So if I wanted to make it chrome, for example, I can click on that, and now I can make it chrome. I can make it gold, and so on and so forth. You know, all these different types of things you can do. I can make it like a reflective colour like this, and if I make that larger, you can see what's happening here. And if I want to apply a soft shadow to that, I could then apply a soft shadow like so, and I can adjust that out and do all sorts of things, make it sharper, adjust the quality of it, you know, to say high like so. And the great thing with these tools is that whatever I create here, I can then send that and I can publish that. Obviously in the demo you can't do it, but in the full version, if you happen to upgrade to it, you can publish to say PDF in super high resolution and send this to a bureau or a friend of yours or a colleague who's got a large format printer, and they can then just print this out for you, and you can create some amazing signage. I mean, really mind-blowing stuff. Some of those examples are things like this. I mean, again, this is just done in the software. It's using a combination of the 3D effects with the extrusion, which I was showing you before, and applying these, you know, presets to the text here. Other examples of you know, modifying or changing the single words or the single letters here and then rotating them in 3D and then creating the extrusion and putting the effect on top. Actually what I'll do is I'll also show you in wireframe so you can see what's happening here. This is all just, you know, regular geometry, but it's got the special effects applied to it, and you can see the sorts of things you can do. So if I click on fire here and change stuff like this, you can see I can actually edit it live. Edit it live in the page like this, and save it and come back and edit it more. I mean, that's the good thing about these effects. As always, you can apply an effect on top of an effect. These are more of these chrome effects, as you can see. And if I pop this design center out and I go to the shading and 3D effects, I'll click on this one and I'll zoom in. And I can show you how you can change it. So I could change the texture here to, I don't know, something else, and you get different effects by doing this. Now, because this is in demo mode, I don't have access to everything you would have if you had the full installed version. But you can see the sorts of things you can do very, very easy, and you can apply bump maps, you know, which create different, well, just an infinite range of effects. And I mean, again, it's your imagination. You spend enough time with this thing, and you can create some amazing things. And we can change the, you know, the profiles of these things, the outline heights, and to create any manner of special effects. So I'll just pop that back out, and you know, these are other things where you're essentially, you can see there's a texture here, so we're applying a texture to one of these effects, or gradient fills. And if I go into wireframe mode, you'll see what's going on there. This is just a character that's been typed in, and by combining the bump maps and the reflection, we can get a plastic effect, like a wrought iron effect. I call this candy wrapper. Again, if I pop this out and we change the style, you can see you can make it look much more glossy. We can go to the shading here, or to the lighting, and we can change the position of the lighting, as you can see. It just goes on, and you can change the highlight strength, which gives different effects. As you can see, it kind of takes those highlights out. If I make that all the way up the top, it makes it very bright. We're going to affect the profiles and all these sorts of things. So, you know, if you look at a program like VinylMaster Designer, the special effects are really quite extraordinary. And some of the artwork I've seen some people make has been just unbelievable. You know, if you've got an artistic flair and you get a program like VinylMaster Designer, you can really create some amazing artwork. So if you'd like to know where you can do that and how to upgrade, you simply bring up an internet browser like this. You can go to fcl.software.com, and if you scroll down here, it will show you can click here to buy the upgrade. You can also learn about why you would upgrade. So if I click on, for example, DSR, which we were just looking at a moment ago, loads it up there, and you can see these are the sorts of reasons. So in addition to Cut, Letter and Pro, so if you have all those versions or Pro, you get all this extra tools and features. Extras as in, you know, fonts and logos and all the rest of it. And if you wish to upgrade, you can click on the buy button here and click upgrade license. This window that opens up, you just type in your product serial number, you follow it through. The good thing about this is once the order is processed, you immediately get back the new PSN and a download link, and you can instantly download and activate the software and start cutting with it, designing and cutting immediately. And you can also do it from the USCutter website, so go to USCutter.com. If you get to the VinylMaster section, that will load up, and you will see the upgrade section here. You click on that, and that loads up, and again you click on this and it will take you to the cart. And that concludes this lesson. Thanks for watching.